That's a wide body.
Panther Nation, what's good? Welcome back to Carolina's Armchair GM. I am your host, CJ. All right, so y'all know what today is. It's not hump day, it is cut day. All right, so the Panthers had to get their roster down to 53 players by 4 o'clock, and they did exactly that. Okay, a few things were kind of like a little surprising. Okay, but for the most part, the roster was kind of how I thought it would be. I was wrong with a few of the picks, but nothing. Hopefully, nothing. I was wrong with more so the numbers on some of them. I kept one too many players on a couple, and then on a couple more, I kept one person too little, or one less person than they ended up keeping is what I meant to say. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting day. You know, I mean, I work a full-time job, so I had meetings today, and then I'm sitting there in my meeting trying to check my phone and pay attention to see what was going on with the Panthers all day long, and it's been a crazy day. I mean, but things really started popping off. I want to say about about around like too late, probably close to 3 o'clock, like 3 o'clock to 4. Because me and my homie Doug was on the phone chit chatting about what was going on. So yeah, today has been an interesting day. Not gonna keep y'all here too long tonight. Um, if anybody wants to join me, let me know. I'll throw a link in the chat. But we're just gonna go over the Panthers initial 53-man roster. And I got a few things I want to throw in here and there, and we'll get to talking about how everybody feel. All right, but first off, let me welcome everybody. If you're new, welcome. Okay, thank you for joining me. All of y'all that are returning, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Okay, and I'd appreciate it if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Help me to reach my next channel goal of 2,000 subscribers. Okay, and you can catch me on all social media right here at Armchair GMCJ. Oh, and also, and if you haven't checked out my TikTok page, go check out my TikTok page as well. My oldest son is head drum major at Central, and he was on TV the other night. All right, so I had to get on here and make a whole reel. I posted that thing on every bit of social media that I could come across. All right, everything, but one in particular, but you ain't gonna talk about that. All right, but yeah, man, but go check out my TikTok, check out my oldest boy Cam, and yeah, and I appreciate y'all. All right. So, and for those of y'all who may be watching on Facebook, I just got a notice that it's having trouble. So if you are or you were, I do apologize. All right. But that is out of my control. All right, let's get to some comments here. Okay, now first of all, now this young lady says good evening. All right. Then I said, "What's good, Panther Nation?" Okay, and I replied to this young lady. I said, "Hello there." And then here go this dude. Not y'all holding convo in the chat. Yes, sir, we are. Yeah, yes, sir, we are. Thank you. I appreciate you. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. And is there you go. There you go. Uncle Leroy, my Carolina nephew, the great Curtis CJ Payne. What's up, Uncle Leroy? How you doing, big dog? So how many times you practiced that line? I don't know what line you talking about, Doug, and I probably didn't practice it none if I messed it up. Nikari, what's going on, man? What's up, brother, uncle, man, brother? What's going on with you, man? How you doing? He said, wait, they cut my white boy, the entrepreneur Hunter Renfro. Now they know that's bad business. We're gonna get into that here in a minute. We're gonna get into that here in a minute, and we're gonna talk about Hunter Renfro. I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit of a surprise to me. Okay, but we'll get into that in a minute. Double O Kane, what's going on with you? Said been playing Young Dolph and OT cut all day. Rest in peace, Flipper. I got you. I got you. I ain't gonna lie. I know Young Dolph. Don't know who Flipper is. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Doug said, "What's up, Uncle Leroy?" Leroy said, "Blessings to the chat." Rod Walk, what's up, CJ? What's up, Rod Walk? How you doing, sir? We all watching Curtis. Yeah, I try keeping you in. Oh, we all working Curtis. Yeah, I try keep. Man, let me tell you, I was gonna be in there regardless, though. But I appreciate you. I absolutely appreciate you. All right. SC Panthers boy 803, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? Yes, proud papa. I am a proud papa. Yep. Uncle Leroy said, hey, hell yeah, I definitely got to tap in, nephew. See, I got a wishbone to pick with Canales' ass for cutting Renfro. All right, we'll get into that here in a little bit, man. A little bit. Let me see. Nakar said the conversation that matters is who should we beg for the waiver wire, only to be let down when the claims process. Yes, because if I'm not mistaken, we are eighth in the waiver wire. The Titans are number one. So basically, everybody above us in the draft is ahead of us as far as the waiver wire goes. Uncle Leroy says I'm hotter than a bag of tires right now for that Renfro cut. Oh my god. Let me see. Don't know about Renfro. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Don't nobody want that damn David no more. Let me tell you, man. I've been hearing stuff. It's like, yo, like, what does David Renfro have on Dave Canales? I mean, all kind of stuff since earlier today. Well, no, not earlier. Since probably about what's time now, 7-11. Since probably about after 4 o'clock. After all this was done. Let me see. Brady Swinson, CJ Paul. Gotcha. Hold on, Miss Rock Jones. CJ Renfro gets cut, but another Gamecock makes the roster. Go figure. Are you talking about Bam Martin Scott? Yeah, I saw that. Carolina Rush, what's going on? Glad Bam Martin Scott made it to the 53. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not have him making it. I did not, but like I said, that's why I'm the armchair GM and not the real one. All right. Nakari says, I'm not mad about Renfro. It gives Coker a purpose and Jimmy more of an opportunity. To be honest with you, I think Coker already had a purpose, regardless. Okay. And there's been some talk about Jalen Coker and what his role is, and is he wide receiver, 2, 3, or 4, or Thielen's back up in the slot, or whatever. With Coker, my thing is, all I know is the man goes out there, he runs routes and he catches passes. Okay, so we'll see what the Panthers decide, to do with him in his second season in the NFL. But I think personally, Coker will probably have a little bit more, of a not to say so, but he'll have more opportunities, this year. He started having a lot of opportunities towards the end of last season, but I think his opportunities will be across this entire season here. God forbid any injury or anything. Knock on wood. Okay. Uncle Leroy said they done blasted my blood pressure off higher than NASA, nephew. This fan base beef with the Gamecocks needs to be studied. What beef? What beef? Who got beef with the Gamecocks? Now, mind you, I don't I don't root against them unless they play Tar Heels. That's about the only time I root against South Carolina. I ain't gonna lie. They in the SEC. Usually, they be playing whoever they be playing, LSU, Alabama, all them when they rolling doing their thing. I'll be rooting for them to make the upset. Uh Isaiah Simmons. Yeah, we'll get into that too. Say they should pick him up. We'll see, because who was it? Green Bay cut him. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Arizona's first round pick a few years ago. So yeah. Yeah, it's a couple names out there. Nephew, anybody ever told you look like John P. Key as I know, but hey, you the first. Hey, it's all good. I'll take it. Any Gamecock player on the roster gets scrutinized extra hard. Okay, all right. What? Hey, not here. Let me tell you. I mean, even if we like Icky came from NC State. All right, as a Tar Heel fan, I can't stand NC State. But once he gets to the league and on the Panthers, you know what? Hey, I'm rooting all for him. So we'll see. Carolina Rush said, probably Clemson fans. We need to get Flacco from the no Falco from the replacements as a backup, nephew. I don't know about all that, but we'll see. All right, but let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the Carolina Panthers 53-man roster as it stands right now. And I say as it stands right now because if I'm not mistaken, you start claiming players off the waiver tomorrow. Okay. And I'll get to it in a second. I think there's some room for the Panthers to kind of dibble and dabble on the waiver wire if they so desire. So we'll see. All right. Let me see here. Okay. All right. So this is a fairly easy one here. Okay. Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, are our quarterbacks. Bryce is the starter. Dalton is the backup. Jack Plummer was cut. Bryce Perkins was cut as well. And the only question I got is who are they going to bring back as the practice squad quarterback? Has Jack Plummer done enough to secure that spot, or do you think they take a chance on the reigning let me see UFL MVP Bryce Perkins? Okay, so we'll see. All right, but this one here, clear cut, dry to the point. All right. Okay. Another one that I believe was also clear cut, dry and to the point was offensive line. All right. There was a little bit of a battle, and I do mean a little bit of a battle at the start of preseason between started off season between Austin Corbett and Cade Mays for the center spot. Nobody else's spot was in jeopardy from anybody, the starters, from anybody you see down there at the bottom of the screen. Okay. We do have a lot of flexibility as far as center and the two guard spots because we have three players that can play guard and center. Okay. Corbett, Christensen, and Mays. All right. Zavala is the guard, and Josh Nyman is going to be the backup right tackle. Also, Brady Christensen is first slotted to be the backup left tackle. And I want to say he played, he did play left tackle in a couple games last year when Icky was out. Okay. One of the strengths of our offense right here in front of you, this offensive line. So nothing really out of the ordinary when it comes here. The only thing I will mention, we kept 10 offensive linemen last year. This year, we keep 9. Okay. And like I said, I do believe that's because of the amount of flexibility that we have in Corbett, Christensen, and Mays. Now, the only thing I do worry about, we have a lot of and it's crazy because a couple years ago we had Icky and Moulton on the outside, and our center and guard spots were a complete mess. Okay, and now we've really shored up the center and guard spots, and not to say that anything wrong with Icky and Taylor Moulton. Okay, Moulton just got his extension. The only thing I would like to see from Icky is him to work on his pass blocking and get better at that. Throughout the entirety of the season. Okay, he has really good games, and he has games where not to say he takes a game off, but it's like it kind of his play drops just a little bit. As far as his pass protection. Now him in the run game, he's great. Okay, he's great. I would like to see the next level in his maturation as a left tackle would be to improve on his pass pro. Okay, but yeah, man. Now mind you, like I said, we got Brady Christensen, as the backup left tackle, and Josh Nijman as the backup right tackle. I'm okay with Brady Christensen. I wouldn't want him to start, most of the season at the backup tackle spot. But my worry for this is Josh Nijman. Okay, that's probably my the one that I'm worried about the most on this offensive line. But hopefully Taylor Moulton can get back to being the Iron Man that he has been since he has been with the Carolina Panthers. He missed 2 games last year, and I forgot the first game that he missed. I think he missed Dallas and in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Y'all let me know. But I know him and Icky had a rough going in that damn Dallas game. Okay, I mean, and you gotta realize you have Michael Parsons on the other side of that line as well as their opponent. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let me see here. Card says I would take Henderson Hooker or Hendon Hooker. Oh, you talking about the quarterback that Detroit cut, the one from Tennessee, drafted a couple years ago, Hendon Hooker. I think that's who you talking about. He also said they cut Bartholomew and Tuttle. Yay, but DJ Johnson made it too. Let me tell you, that was also a topic. That was also a topic on Twitter or X, earlier today, was this very thing right here. Now, mind you, I had Bartholomew making it, but it was because I thought they were going to keep a few more players. And then I think I had them cutting not I don't know if I had them cutting Caleb Evans or not. But I had Bartholomew on there and Mike Reed. So we'll see. I had them keeping. Let me see. I had them keeping 7, like they did last year. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see. Uncle Leroy says Andy Dalton rifle don't work anymore. He done ran out of bullets, and if he does have bullets, they don't work anymore. Say Icky is tricky when it comes to his pass blocking. Yeah, and it's not like I'm saying that he is bad, but he does have his moments. He does have his moments, and and when you compare that to Taylor Moton on the other side, and I said this once last year as well. There were a couple of times in some games last year where you would see Moulton and Icky, kind of get the work put to him on the same play, but it was always Icky's man would get there first. So it was like he would get credit for giving up the pressure or the sack or whatever, and Taylor Moulton kind of skated by. And that's from my perspective. Okay, you go back and look at some of the plays, they will both get beat, but Icky's man will usually get there first. Okay. But yeah, but I like Icky, they picked up his 5th-year option. If he goes out there and has a good season, I'm sure they're going to try and work out another contract for him this offseason. But we shall see. All right, we shall see. Doug says bring it all 9 offensive linemen from the year before is fire, but I do think some people could have been let go. Okay. Give me the names, Doug. Let me know who you think. If it's let me guess. I bet you it's probably Zavala and Yash Nyman. And let me know if I'm wrong, but we might agree on that one. T. Thomas said, I do think that DJ Johnson improved a little bit, so I'm okay with that. I kind of think the whole DJ Johnson thing is, that was Evero's guy, that was Evero's pick. We've seen a few players today, some 2nd-round picks, 3rd-round picks by teams that have been, cut, not picks in this draft, but picks in years prior, that have been released today, by the teams that drafted them. So I'm just, I'm gonna we'll talk about DJ Johnson when we get to the defensive when we get to the outside linebackers. Okay, we'll save that here for a little bit. Leroy said we need another DJ because DJ Johnson not in here spinning shit right on the defense, nephew. Nada, what's going on? DJ Johnson and David Moore are untouchable. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie to you. It seems that way. It definitely seems that way. Definitely seems that way. Tip Drew Will Robinson, what's going on with you, man? How you doing there, big dog? Doug says Yash for sure. Zavala still mixed bag out there on him. Okay, I got you. I got you. All right, cool beans, cool beans. All right, so that is our offensive line. Okay. All right, now, okay, let's go to our first and probably our biggest wow kind of position, like what happened. Okay. So we got Ted McMillan, Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker, David Moore, Bryson Tremaine, and Jimmy Horn Jr. Okay. Now, all right, McMillan, Legette, Coker, Horn Jr. Okay. Didn't have any doubts that those 4 would be on here. And the only doubt I had about Thielen is if they were going to trade him back to Minnesota. And from what I'm reading on Twitter, I don't know if this is true or not, but what I'm reading is that the Panthers wanted a 3rd-round pick for Adam Thielen, and Minnesota it was not willing to give up that high of a pick. And I said on my video yesterday Sunday that if the Panthers traded Thielen, I didn't think they were going to be able to get more than maybe like a 5th-round pick. For him. I thought it was going to be, somebody Minnesota trying to give up a 6th or 7th-round pick, and we might be lucky to try and get a 5th. But, and I will say this, I give a hand clap to Dan in the front office, for standing their ground. You know what I mean? If this is somebody that you want, we're not going to sit here and take peanuts for him. Okay, I applaud them for that. I do. Okay. And I think it shows that they really did want to keep Adam. Okay. They really did want to keep him, but if the right compensation was provided, they would have traded him. All right. And I think that they probably sat down and had a conversation with Adam Thielen. All right. This is just my thought process. 'Cause I said this on the last live. This is what I would do. I would sit down and be like, hey, your former team needs a wide receiver. Hey, they called us. What do you think? Would you want to go back? Okay, cool. But it seems like it's a situation where he was like, okay, I'll go back if that's what y'all want to do. But I really would like to stay here. If y'all would like to have me. So that's my opinion on this. That's my opinion on this. And and of course, the one name that you don't see on here is Hunter Renfro. Okay, Hunter Renfro was released. Okay, and there was a difference in being waived and released. So he's a vested veteran. He gets released. He doesn't have to go to the waiver wire and wait to be claimed or unclaimed before he can sign with another team. Hunter Renfro can go out and sign with anybody he wants, right away. And from what I'm hearing, and again, like I said, this is stuff I'm reading on X. I don't know if it's true or not. Hunter Renfro has been I wasn't quoted, but they're saying that he says the only team he wants to play for is Carolina. So there's a lot of talk about Hunter Renfro joining the practice squad. Okay, and my thing is this: I'm looking at it from you know maybe Hunter Renfro isn't back to being the Hunter Renfro that he was. Okay, maybe in his mind. I don't know if the Panthers saw something else that we haven't seen. There's not a whole crap ton of tape of him in the preseason. The most of the tape that you see on Hunter Renfro is come from the practices and the joint practices, and the little bit of footage that we got from training camp. Okay. So I don't know what that all is behind the scenes, but one thing I do know, a lot of people are upset about Hunter Renfro being cut. Okay, Hunter Renfro's 29, Adam Thielen is 35. There's a lot of talk about the age. Okay. Um, there's I hear talk about people wanting Thielen gone because they feel like, he is Bryce's safety blanket and he's going to use him too much, things of that nature. And let me ask y'all this while I have y'all on here. Okay, so we have this wide receiver room. Okay, so we have our rookie, we have our second year players in Leggett and Coker. You have your veterans in Thielen and Moore. Another second year player in Bryson Tremaine, and another rookie in Jimmy Horn Jr. Okay, so I would say that this is probably one of the, I ain't gonna say more stacked wide receiver rooms, across the NFL. Definitely probably one of the more stacked wide receiver rooms as far as talent and veteran presence in the NFC South. Okay, and I keep hearing a lot of people talking about, who catches 1,000 yards, who doesn't. So y'all let me know in the chat what's more important. Okay, one of these guys getting 1,000 yards and 1,000 yards, and the other guys, getting close and it's steadily going down as you go down the wide receiver order. Or, are y'all happy with the ball being spread around? Just say somebody doesn't get 1,000 yards, but the Panthers are winning. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think about that. Does it matter if one of these guys get 1,000 yards? Now, mind you, I'm not saying that I don't want one of these guys to get. I would love for multiple of these wide receivers to get 1,000 yards, like we did with Bridgewater a few years back when we had Robbie Anderson, or Robbie Chosen as he's known now, and DJ Moore both had 1,000 yards with Teddy. You know what I mean? But I'm kind of whatever works for best for the team. Okay, and mind you, it could be a situation where, all right, you got one that's going off and everybody else is falling in line, or the wealth is being spread around. Either way, as long as we winning, I'm good with that. Okay, so let me see what everybody is saying here, and I know I missed a few comments here. Let me see. The card said, "I ain't know Bryson Tremaine was that fair skinned." Said he name fished me. We always have beef with the most random fan bases. Vikings join the Bears, Jags, Eagles, and Cowboys as random beefs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, my thing is the Vikings fan base seems to really want Adam Thielen back really bad. Okay, so they have Justin Jefferson, but Addison is suspended, and their third wide receiver, who I forgot his name in my last video, and I had to put it on the screen. I forgot his name again. He is hurt as well going to the season, so they definitely need some wide receiver help. Excuse me. So a lot of that fan base really wants Adam Thielen back, and I think a lot of this fan base is upset at the fact that if we were offered a fourth round pick for Adam Thielen, the Panthers should have just took that and ran with it. Okay. But like I said, that's why we're on here talking about this. And, Dan, Tillis, Dave, they're the ones out here making those decisions. So we'll see. We'll see how this all goes out, how this all plays out. I mean, you know, I would love it to be a situation where, Renfro comes back on the practice squad. And then maybe at some point during the season, he's activated if needed, or maybe he's activated if it's a situation where he's not quite ready. Okay, and he feels like he's not quite ready for week one. So we'll see. We'll see. We got a fourth round pick for Marshall. Adam is a lot better. True, true. This is true. This is true. Bryson Tremaine slept on, though, nephew. Remember, Unc told you so. I got you. I got you. Well, I mean, now mind you, you've been hearing about him all throughout training camp. Okay, because what was it? I think it was the Houston joint practice. I want to say he caught two touchdowns in the 11 on 11. I think the red zone drills against the Texans. So his name has been brought up, this the entire process of training camp. But I'm, not guessing. What Canales and the rest of the coaches saw was enough to make sure they kept him on this roster. And you saw when Brad Isaac was on the blueprint, and he was talking about, we'd like to keep 6, 7 wide receivers. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people are like, well, you heard what they said. This shouldn't be a surprise. I did not think they were going to keep 7 wide receivers. I honestly didn't. I thought that might have been Isaac's hope because he's the offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? But I did not think they were actually going to do it. And I did not think Bryson Tremaine was actually going to be one of them. So, but again, hey, I'm not in the front office. So, hey, maybe his injury is more serious than we think. Maybe, maybe that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. Let me see. Potential wide stack. Yeah, yeah. Deepest in the NFC South. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Hey, 704 Charlotte Bound Show. What's going on? So what's good, brother? Hey, how y'all doing over there? How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all joining. See, I like a few 6 to 800 yard receivers. I got you. I got you. 3,800 yards of production with wins. Facts, facts, facts. And now you got a lot of people stuck on that 4,000 yards for for Bryce Young. I mean, now I think I answered the question on a podcast of maybe like a month or so ago. And I was asked, Bryce Young had 3,800 yards and like 25 to 30 touchdowns, would I be cool with that? And I was like, if we're winning, yeah. You know what I mean? If we're winning, yeah. And 38 yards and 25 to 30 touchdowns, is not a bad stat line. It's not bad. Okay. I'm not saying it's great or it should be up there in godly numbers, probably won't even be top in the league, probably be somewhere, middle of the pack towards the top, but hell, I mean, the way we've gone the past few years, I would take 3,800 yards and 20 to 30 touchdowns this season all day. Okay. All day. All right, and instead of just one big one, as far as the receiving yards, I got you, Nicard. I got you. Let me see. You need them note cards, sir. You need to leave me alone, sir. I got you. Thank you, Doug. We got Aaron Hernandez at wide receiver with the crazy culture, man. Hold on. Yeah, nah, I ain't gonna say he looked like Aaron Hernandez. Nah, I can see where you might be going with that, but we'll see. Bryce better when he ain't got a home in on one receiver. The Deontay game showed us this. I got you. I got you. And Unc agrees. Said they better not have cut my boy Thornton, or it was going to be all hell with Uncle Leroy. Yeah, hey, Thornton did make it, and we'll get to that when we get to that slide as well. T. Thompson, 3,500 yards. Okay, I got you. I got you. Cameron Duckett, what's going on? How you doing? Said we did right to cut Hunter. Okay. Um, glad Shamar got cut. Okay, got you, got you, got you, got you. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Shamar Bartholomew did not look his best out here in the preseason. Okay, did not. And he was a name that I heard about early on in training camp, that was doing all right. So, hey, I don't know exactly what changed with him between now and then, but that play on the field was, yeah, definitely part of it. All right. Let me see here. What else? And it's funny, Doug. I do have notes here on the screen, but I the person's name I thought of was kind of a spur of the moment thing. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. But these are our wide receivers, and like I said, the big news: Hunter Renfrow is cut. Adam Thielen is still here. Bryson Tremaine is on the roster. The Panthers kept 7 wide receivers. All right, so we'll see how this all plays out tomorrow moving forward. All right. Okay. Another room that is pretty clear cut and dry, the running back room. Okay. You got Chuba, you got Rico, and you got Trevor Etienne. It's not, too much to say about this one here. Okay. Chuba's our lead back. Now what I hope they do with Rico Dowdle, I do hope they use him. I hope they figure out creative ways to get him in the game, down, distance, situation, maybe try to throw in some wrinkles there. ETN, he'll probably mostly use on special teams on let me see, on kick returns, if I'm not, no, punt returns. He was a punt returner all most of the preseason, and Jimmy Horn Jr. did the kick returns. Okay, so but I got high hopes for the running back room this year. I do. I do. I think Chuba will get his. I don't think it's any like threat of him, falling back as far as his production from last year, but I think they will find, the hopefully the right way to blend Rico Dowdle into this offense. And I mean, and ETN at times too. I'm not going to say that he's just going to be relegated to special teams the entire season. I'm pretty sure at some point during this year, he will be in there getting some burn at running back as well. So, yeah. All right. Go through some more comments here. Let me see. Underrated move is cutting Matthew Wright. Yeah. 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 We'll get to that. We get to the kickers too, but I agree. I agree. All right. How about Ricky Martin? Yeah. I'll take that one. I'll take that one. Panthers are plus 450 to win the division, but only plus 350 to make the playoffs. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that is interesting. I do believe this is one of those years where they're going to have to win the division. Okay. I don't think it's going to be one of those where we get close enough and somebody else win the division and we be right there and like, oh, okay, well, we can pop in as a wild card. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. You know, if I think our only chance is if we win the division. And right now, as we stand, Panther Nation, that is a big if. That is a big if. Don't don't get it twisted. Don't let me sit here and try to. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to. No, making the playoffs this year is a big if at this moment. Big if, but we'll see though. We'll see. They made the right kicker choice. I got you in the car. Said when the lights came on, what happened, CJ? To who, dog? To who? You got to put names in there with, dog. Said Chuba, so damn Canadian light skin. You stupid, in the car. Say, yeah, you're not going to make time, but loving the comment. I told Doug I was going to be on for maybe about an hour. I want to try and prove him wrong, but if things is going well, then I might be a little over now. We'll see. We kept that boy, Little Man Horn, the new Mighty Mouse plus Speedy Gonzalez equals Jimmy Horn Jr. And let me tell you, and I hope that equals success on the field as well. Paul Mancini, what's going on with you? It's not old or it's not over, fellas. There will be 2 or 3 changes to today's initial 53-man roster. Always is. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. We're gonna see some changes. It's probably over with for the day, but tomorrow I do believe they're going to go out and try to pick up some of these players who clear waivers and that they can grab. All right. Chuba looking like a young Muslim. Man, somebody get his phone and y'all are crazy. Let me see. Panthro 74. What's going on? I'd rather both running backs get 1,000 yards versus any wide receiver. Bryce Young 9, great play at play action. Okay. All right. I got you. I got you. Yeah, me personally, let me tell you, whatever the recipe is, I hope it ends up, being a win. Okay. and let me tell you, I don't care if we are, running team. I don't care if Bryce throw 4,000 yards. I don't care if you throw for 3,500 yards. I don't care if both of these guys have 1,000 yards apiece. At the end of the day, as long as it turns into a W, I am happy. I am happy. Let me see. You know what? I'm not gonna let you talk about Rico like that, Uncle Leroy. I just want to see a run 50% and pass 50, keep teams guessing. Yeah, yeah, I got you. Oh, Bartholomew. Bartholomew. Um, yeah, I think you did though, but it's all good. I got you. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I got you. You were absolutely right. When them lights came on, yes. Yes, 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 yeah. You were absolutely right, sir. Paul says Tampa Bay is way ahead of the rest of the NFC South as long as they remain healthy. Panthers' big step is for 2026, not this season where they have to learn how to win first and develop the young. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. We got the future triple doubles at running back. Now, okay. Now that you say that, now Rico, depending on how he does this year, and it may not be depending on how he does. I think it's going to be dependent on Jonathan Brooks and how he recovers from that torn ACL, I think it was, that he had last year. If he is on the mend by next season and ready to rock and roll and showing no signs of any lingering parts of that injury or whatnot. Because Rico only signed a 1 year contract, and just think about this: if he balls out this year with the Panthers, yeah, he's gone. He is gone. He's absolutely gone. That's my opinion. I think he's absolutely gone. Somebody is going to come in and sign him to a multi-year deal. I am still shocked that Dallas let him go. But hopefully that will be our win and gain for this season. For this one season that I think he'll be here. I don't think he's gonna be here past this year, but we'll see. All right. So let's go ahead and move on here. All right, tight end. Now this was another one that kind of got me because all I had us keeping was Sanders, Trimble, and Evans. Okay, but James Mitchell, the tight end who caught the touchdown pass from Jack Plummer against the Steelers. All right, our only touchdown that night. He made the 53-man roster as well. Okay, it's been a few years since the Panthers have kept less than four tight ends. Can't remember exactly when. It was a few years ago, but they kept four last year. And I do believe they kept four the year before as well. So they continue that trend with the tight ends. Tommy Trimble is back practicing, but I do believe he has on a red no contact jersey. Him, Damian Lewis, and one other player had on the red contact jerseys at practice today. But he is back. He gave a little story about his his surgery. He was itching to get back, and he's actually running full speed earlier than anticipated. So that is good as well. And let's just hope he'll go out there and be ready for game one as well. What I'm looking for in the tight end room, I'm looking for Sanders to take, hopefully what would be his next step, as our pass catching tight end. Tommy Trimble is a good blocker. And I always thought he was underrated. Well, let me not say that. He had drop issues his first year. But like him and Chuba, okay, they had training camp here in Charlotte last year, when training camp practice was over, every time, if you looked at the jug machines, you saw Tommy Trimble and Chuba Hubbard. There have been photos and videos of them in training camp this year, where after practice, Chuba Hubbard and Tommy Trimble were on the jug machine. Okay, so they put in the work, but I do like Sanders. I like his flexibility. I like his athletic ability. He works on his route running skills. Like I said, I don't think he was the worst blocker in the world. I think he has a little bit of improvement that he can do on that. Now, Mitchell Evans, how he'll figure into that, I think for me is yet to be seen. I didn't see, too much of him, during the preseason. So we'll see how he fits in this plan going into the regular season as well. But I do like our tight end room. I like the starters. I like Sanders and Trimble. We'll have to see what Evans and Mitchell do. But hopefully they won't be thrust into any kind of a starting role because of injuries or anything. So we'll see. All right, let me go back and catch up on some comments here. Let me see. The card says Tampa is overrated. Uncle Leroy says, you know, he looked like a swole future nephew with Pitbull. So if they so ahead, why can't they ever win more than 10? Oh, you're talking about Tampa. That's a good question. That's a good question. We not worried about the tampon base or the sister act saints. Hey, that is hilarious. I like that. That is hilarious. Oh, Paul said, I expect Thielen traded along with a sixth round pick to the Vikings for a fifth and seventh round picks. Opens up a roster spot, clears money on the cap space, clears money on cap space where the Panthers add a safety. If I'm not mistaken, Adam Thielen being traded clears, oh goodness, I want to say over 5 million, $5 to $6 million. I mean, so that is money that they can spend. And I've been meaning to look all day and see if Over the Cap has updated Taylor Moton's contract to see what kind of money was added to our salary cap from that. If anybody has or can look it up real quick, let me know. I appreciate it. But yeah, but I get you on that one, Paul. Trimble will be moved to short-term IR after week 1, meaning he won't be eligible until week 6. Opening up another roster spot is my guess. Okay, all right, all right. James Mitchell, like he could play a young uncle on TV show House of Pain season 9. You know, it's funny, and I do not watch House of Pain. Sanders is going to be what Pitt should have been at Atlanta tight end. Okay. Okay, I got you. Now I'm not saying anything bad against Sanders, just in case Red Swarm is out there watching somewhere. He probably not though. You know, as far as Pitts go. Now Pitts had 1,000 yards in his rookie season, and he's kind of he went down a little bit, and then he's kind of leveled off the past 2 years because I think he went from like 1,000, I think to around like 500 or something. I think he's been around 600 or 700 these past 2 seasons as well. But yeah, I mean, if Sanders and Trimble can just be reliable pass catching tight ends and reliable in the blocking game, I am happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. All right. See, Doug said, now Uncle Leroy Mitchell can play as CJ younger brother or another son to the family game. You know what? Wait till you come to Charlotte, Doug. I'm gonna see you. He said Trimble got a Tony Gonzalez nose. Okay, Leroy, you gotta stop. In other words, Trimble is on initial 53 to protect his injured status. Gotcha, Paul. Gotcha. Panthro 74 said, "While I am excited about our tight end room, I hope we get them involved." Facts. Oh, and the card said we got 32 million. Oh, wow. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So let me see. We added what, 13 million? Because it was at 19 last time I looked at it. Hmm, damn, that's all right. Well, it's not like the Panthers don't have the money to go out there and make some moves. So we'll see. Oh, and I'm sorry. 17 million. Okay, that's a big difference. My bad. My bad. Okay. Uh Hold on. No, I don't. Paul, I thought you was Will. You know what? The card said my numbers are messed up. I got you, the card. I got you. Okay. All right. So that ends the offensive side of the ball. Oh, and you know what? And let me go back real quick. Because no, let me just say this. The numbers on the offensive side of the ball, we kept one. I think we kept one less offensive lineman. I think that was about the only change from last. Well, we kept one less offensive lineman and added two more wide receivers than the first depth chart that was released for week 1 of last season. Okay, so week 1 last season we had 5 wide receivers and 10 offensive linemen. So now we have 9 offensive linemen and 7 wide receivers. Okay. All right, now here, we're going to start with the defense, okay? So we have Derek Brown, Bobby Brown, and Turk Wharton, okay? Now on the Panthers depth chart, okay, I got it right here. They have Turk Wharton listed as the defensive tackle. I don't know if that's going to be the case for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure it's not, because if that's the case, then why in God's name did we bring in Bobby Brown? I don't know if they were kind of experimenting with stuff the last two games of the preseason as far as the depth chart. But now mind you, names have been disappearing from it as they made the cuts later on today. But they still have Bobby Brown as the backup to hold on, let me scroll down here. They have him as the backup to Ashawn Robinson, which I don't think that is going to be the case when it comes to week one. Okay. Now I say that, now in the game last year when we played against the Chiefs, Turk Wharton was with them. There were some situations where he did line up, at that nose tackle spot, but it wasn't anything, for the whole game. And I think, like I said, I just stuff like that just makes me wonder, like, why would they put him there like that? You know what I mean? Like I know Bobby Brown had I think it was like a knee issue or something early on in camp, but whatever. Okay. But I do like this offense, like this defensive line. Last year they had five defensive linemen. Now we have six. LeBron Ray has been put on the IR and designated for return, so he can come back after week 4, if I'm not mistaken. Now the thing is, if Brian Ray does come back, who on this list, gets the boot. Okay. Or who on this list at another spot gets the boot. I don't think they keep more than six defensive linemen. And I got in my notes here to say that, week 1 through 4, if this is Jaden Crumbity's time to shine, if he wants to secure a roster spot, here into the future. You know what I mean? I do think this is his time to go out there and show him what he can do, because he was hurt his whole rookie season. He was hurt a lot of last season. He did get in, some later on in the season, but the defense as a whole was just terrible. You know, hopefully this season he can have his time, to get out there and hopefully show us, what he has. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what Cam Jackson can do come game time against the Jaguars. He was our 5th round pick out of Florida. Okay. So, we have two, very big nose tackles. Okay. And the one person that you don't see on this list is Shy Tuttle. Let me tell you, Doug was hollering to the high heavens earlier today. I mean, if I could have had a camera on him, I guarantee you he was probably doing the Harlem Shake, that new floating walk thing they doing. I tried to do it last night and embarrassed myself in front of the kids. I cannot do it at all. But he was probably doing, everything. But yeah, Shy Tuttle has been released, and very quickly he decided to that he's going to sign with the Titans. And I say this, and I'm gonna stand on this until, if he goes to the Titans and plays what I think he should be playing and still does terrible, then I would say, you know what, I was wrong. I always felt like he was playing out of position, like he was not a true nose tackle in a 3-4. I think he would have been better as a backup at one of these defensive end spots, but I don't know if the situation is all we had to work with, but here we are. And Shy Tuttle is gone, to the delight of a lot of Panther Nation, a lot of Panther Nation. But I ain't gonna lie, I really wish it would have worked out, but it didn't. So here we are. Okay. And with this defensive line, I am hoping that this unit right here will take probably what I want to be the biggest step on this defense as a whole. Okay, I want the whole defense to take a step in the right direction, but this unit right here, to me, has to take the biggest step. Okay, because I think on average, running backs were getting 3 to 4 yards past the line of scrimmage before they were being touched by anybody on our defense. And that first line of defense on the defense is the defensive line that you see right here. Okay. I am hoping that the acquisition of Bobby Brown, helps that. We still got big Ashawn Robinson, so the combination of Brown the third, and Robinson, I think that should pay dividends. Keyword think. We gotta wait and see what happens when we get out on the field. Turk Wharton, I do think he's versatile. He can play all over the line of scrimmage, and hopefully he'll come in and pay dividends. I mean, he got a very decent sized contract, 3 years, $54 million. So we need to see some dividends and some return back from Turk Wharton as well. But we'll see how this goes. But this right here, this right here is going to be a key piece in this defense this year. And it's like I said, it's the first line of defense. Okay. Let me see. Doug said, I sure was praise dancing and screaming hallelujah. Yo, let me tell you. Fayette, what's going on with you? Said, what's up, CJ and Panthers fam? How you doing, Fayette? Let me see. It says Jackson gonna be nice for us, nephew, in the future. Yep. Oh, and speaking of, and I know I'm talking about another team here, but I had to say this. Uh, Cam Jackson's teammate from Florida that got picked up by the Buccaneers. Now, let me tell you, so they wouldn't let him practice or play until he lost some weight. If I'm not mistaken, he was 456 pounds. The man, all he did was kind of run on the sidelines with a jersey on. And he did not get to practice. He did not get to play. And the man got cut. And y'all, if y'all disagree with me, please let me know. But I'm just like, what was the point of even bringing him in? My thing is, you knew how big he was, how much he weighed before you even brought him in the building. I don't think he got enough of a chance, enough of a timetable to, drop all that weight that they wanted him to drop, to get, I guess, in the playing shape that they wanted him in. But like I said, I saw Cam Jackson. It made me think about his teammate from Florida, that went to the Bucks. But he had his chance. He didn't get to play, didn't get to practice, and ended up getting cut. So, but Vietnam said, "I'm so glad Tuttle is gone." I said, "Why for a second I thought Brown the third? Why for a second I thought Brown the third? I thought was nephew Big Cat." That's for shout out to old Big Cat. Native says, I believe is 32 million. We had 19 million plus 12 million saved from Moton. Okay, all right, got you. Uncle, but let me tell you, boy, you worse than me, Said Crumley looks like he could be security or bodyguard for MLK. Wow. Stop it, Stop it. He said, I think Wharton is going to do some good things for us as well. I believe so too. Panthro 74. Bobby Brown will start at nose tackle. I have no idea why Shy started during preseason. Bobby Brown will stop the run with 95 next to him. I agree. I agree. That is the hope. Let me tell you, the first few drives against Jacksonville, that is what I want to see. Me personally, I ain't gonna lie. I am so nervous for that first game because it's just like what we saw from last year. It's like, don't go out there and do it for one drive and everybody's like, oh, all right, we're good, we're good. No, I got to see this for an entire game or two or three, to feel like, okay, bet this defense, especially this defensive line, from the standpoint of stopping the run, is in a better place. So we'll have to see how that goes. All right. Vietnam says, so we have 32 million in cap space next year or no. It depends on what they do during this season, and it also depends on everybody's contracts and exactly what the dividends to be paid out are next year. You got some of these guys on first year their contracts, they're not getting quite as much this year. They got signing bonuses and stuff, and then in the second year, that's when their contract really kicks in. And the thing is, the Panthers have quite a few contracts that will be coming up. You're gonna have Icky's next year. They've already picked up his 5th year option. Okay, they already picked his 5th year option. I think that's I'd have to look, maybe around 12, $13 million, if I'm not mistaken, for next year if they don't agree to an extension after this season is over. If they do agree to an extension, give him a signing bonus, that first year probably will drop, probably maybe like $5 or $6 million. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the Panthers gonna have a lot of a lot of contract. I think I said this on the last live, maybe the live before that. Even like Bryce Young is going into his 4th year next year. Okay, now before everybody he listens to this and like, here we go. No, my thing is this with Bryce. Okay, I want to see a good year this year. I want to see a good year next year before we start saying, okay, go ahead and sign that man to an extension. And I think that is fair. Okay, I think that is fair from a team and especially a fan standpoint. With Bryce Young. And again, like I always say, I'm not the GM, so what I say is probably the opposite's going to happen. But I would want to see two pretty good years out of Bryce before we, okay, cool, let's go ahead and sign him to more years. All right. Do I think he can do it? I think he can, but he has to prove it out there on the field. All right. So, but yeah. All right. So that is our defensive line right here. Oh, hey, stay blessed, Unc, man. He said, I'm out. Stay blessed, chat. Hey, appreciate you stopping through, Unc. Appreciate you stopping through. Let me see, get more comments here. Panther 74. I really think our front seven will do much better versus the run this year. I hope so too. My biggest worry are teams putting our inside linebackers in coverage situations. Not sure 32 or 56 can handle it. Man, let me tell you, hey, you ain't said nothing but the truth right there. Think we should try Isaiah Simmons. We really need another linebacker. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind them trying to bring him in at this point. We can see how he works out. You know what I mean? It's probably not going to cost us a whole lot. He's not coming here demanding no big salary or nothing. Who was it? Green Bay cut him. He was a former first round pick by the Cardinals. So we'll see. But and I say that, but we do need to bring let's go ahead and move on here. Let's go ahead and move on to okay. Well, these are the outside linebackers. I'm sorry. We get to the inside linebackers in a second. Okay. And I'll bring your comment back up, Trill. All right. Let me go ahead and start that. Okay, so you got Pat Jones, the second, DJ Wanham, Nick Scorton, Princely Umamielen. Oh, and Scorton was the other person with the red jersey because of he's recovering from the collapsed lung. All right. Thomas Incoom and DJ Johnson. Okay. Now, I did not think they were going to keep six outside linebackers, but they are. Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, DJ Johnson making it back this year was a bit of a surprise to me. Shoot, Thomas Incoom making it, was also a surprise to me as well. But yeah, we are going to have to see exactly what we can get out of our outside linebackers. Now, I will say this. Okay, I will say this. Pat Jones is more of a run stopper. Not to say that he can't get to the quarterback, but from what I've seen in the preseason, you've seen DJ Wanham, you've seen Nick Scorton, you've seen Princely Umamielen be able to get, to opposing team quarterback or get close to them. Okay. And a lot of it is what I keep saying. And like I said, if I'm wrong, hey, go ahead and let me know. But you get a lot of these quarterbacks, opposing quarterbacks in the preseason, they make that drop. As soon as they plant that back foot, the ball is gone. Okay. And you see Omami Yellen and Scorton and all them boys, getting close, making moves, getting close to the quarterback. Now, mind you, hopefully that's the thing where you're out there playing your base defenses. Everything is vanilla, like we always say. That's my hope. You get to this regular season, you get these boys, another second or two. I do believe that we might be able to get some more pressure on opposing quarterbacks this year. I personally think we will get more pressure this year than last year. Okay, I honestly do. Honestly do. Quarterbacks had all day to throw on us last season, and I don't think that is going to necessarily be the case this year. Okay, not to say that we're going to go out there and get 3, 4, 5 sacks a game, but I do think the pressure will ramp up against opposing quarterbacks this upcoming season. So I do think that. Not too many real surprises here. I wasn't surprised DJ Johnson still here, but I ain't gonna lie, I was and the thing is, like I said, if Evero's pick, that year in the draft, all of the defensive line or the outside linebackers were like going off the board really fast, and they said this. And I think DJ Johnson was the last guy on their board. He's a converted tight end playing in Oregon. And they traded 2 picks to the Steelers to trade up to get him. And I never forget, me and Tony were cussing to the high heavens about this. And we were like, man, why in the world did they trade them picks to jump up and get DJ Johnson? I know somebody said early in the chat that they think DJ Johnson has improved, a little bit. He showed flashes of being able to be a factor in the run game, later in the season last year. But, his output overall has been just kind of eh. You know what I mean? And like I said, we we always look at what we had to give away, to get Bryce. And I'm not comparing the two. It's apples and oranges. I know, but we did give up two picks to jump up and get DJ Johnson. And me personally, I don't think that we have got our return from that yet. Just like we haven't got our return from Bryce yet either. Okay, so for everybody out there, cussing me out in the comfort of their own home, hey, we haven't got our return on him as well. So yeah. All right. So those are our outside linebackers, okay? But yeah, but them keeping in Thomas and Coombe, I did not see that coming as well. I did not see that one coming. I definitely thought he would probably be on the practice squad because I want to say he's had a pretty decent preseason. All right. Let me see here. Let me see. 704 NC Ryder Low. Salute CJ. What's going on with you, Ryder? How you doing there, good buddy? Let me see. Paul says if I can show the comment here. All right, and it won't let me show the comment. All right, okay. Well, I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, there we go. All right. Wharton will replace Bobby Brown on passing downs. Then Derek slides inside as the Panthers defense gets more pass rushers. Okay, I got you. I got you. He says I agree. Wharton will sub our Bobby Brown on sub out Bobby Brown on passing downs for sure. All right. Panther Dog, what's going on with you? How you doing, sir? Uh, Paul says that big dude on Tampa was released a week into camp as he was not in condition to practice, let alone play. I thought he was just released here maybe shoot like last week. I didn't think it was because they kept showing him on the sidelines, just kind of walking around, moving with the little tackling dummies or whatnot. I thought it was just recently he got cut. I don't. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. He was out there for a little while. Yeah. But let me know. All right, our pro scouting department might just find a gem tomorrow at free safety, inside linebacker, or cornerback. Not sure who was cut yet from other teams. And and it's crazy because now we had Mello Dotson from Kansas on the team as well. He got cut, and also Kobe Bryant, who the Falcons picked up, was also cut today as well. All right, I ain't gonna lie, did not see that one coming. As far as Kobe Bryant go, I thought he probably would make it. Mello, I think he got in too late in the game. Here, I think the cards were kind of stacked against him, not on purpose, anyway, but I think it was kind of stacked as far as him being able to make an impact on this roster. And but we'll see. Maybe he makes the practice squad. Vietnam says facts. CJ Bryce has got to prove it for multiple years. Facts, facts, facts. We probably see if we can pick up a gem before we spend money on a cornerback, inside linebacker, or free safety in free agency. Yeah, and I do think we might have a gem at the cornerback spot. Might, I stress might. We'll see. I feel like we get more pressure on QBs. I feel like we'll get more pressure on QBs as well. I got you. Yep, yep. Mr. Hunky Dory, what's going on? Said Dern, I'm an hour late. Well, hey, you here, big dog? I appreciate you. You here? Yeah, appreciate you as always. Hey, he said start over. CJ. No, man, let me tell you, I've been talking for almost an hour here. But yeah, no, you're gonna have to go back and hit the replay gang. All right. Trill one said, yeah, dude just got cut a few days ago. Okay, all right. I thought. Let me see. Paul says, look for linebackers released by the Eagles or Ravens. Okay. Yeah. That's a good pool to look from. Okay. All right. So now, okay, so these are outside linebackers, all right? Our edge rushers. Pat Jones, DJ Wanham, Nick Scorton, Princely Umamiel, DJ Johnson, and Thomas Incoon. Okay. All right. And now, all right, our inside linebackers. I had us keeping 5. The Panthers have 4. Okay. I had Jacoby Wyndham making the squad. I had Claudius Shirellis making the squad, and one more person. I forgot who that was, but yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. I got 3 out of these 4 right, but I had Bam Martin Scott not making the roster. Okay, and I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, and no shade to Roseboom, no shade to Wallace. Right now, I would say this is probably the weakest spot on our defense, or one of the weakest spots. Okay. Um I think Trevin Wallace was the plan for him was to sit back and learn a year under Josie Jewell and Shaq Thompson. That train was derailed when Shaq Thompson was hurt out for the season. Trevin Wallace was thrust into playing and starting. Roseboom. Now we know that he is like a missile out there on the field. Okay, if he diagnoses a play, he's out. He's going to get it. Okay. Shirellis, we've seen him here this year, this summer, this off season, and last year. He played a little bit for us last year. Still waiting to see I guess say him take that next step. He didn't look too great to me out there in the preseason game, especially the last one versus the Steelers. Now Bam Martin Scott, might be another hidden jewel out there. We shall see. But if there is one room that I think that the Panthers are going to go and look for some more help once the waiver wires, or the release players who can sign immediately, I think this is one of the rooms that they will try and focus on getting better. Okay. So when I say that, Bam Martin Scott, undrafted free agent out of South Carolina, Claude Shirellis, I don't think either one of them right now are particularly safe. Okay. I don't think either one of them are guaranteed to be here, come week one, if the right player is out there for the Panthers to add to this position group right here. Okay. But right now we have Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom, Bam Martin Scott, and Claudin Shirellis. Okay. All right. Panther said why Kobe Bryant cornerback might be a great GM. I'm surprised he was cut as well. Yeah, he might. He might. Doug says this room will look a lot buffet by tomorrow. Did you mean different? A lot better, maybe? I don't know. Oh, he says different. I got you. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think if it's any room that's going to have a lot of turnover between now and that first game of the regular season, it's going to be this linebacker room right here. In my heart of hearts, I do not believe Dan Morgan, as a former linebacker, looks at this room and like, yeah, I like this room from top to bottom. Okay, and that's just my opinion, but I don't think he looks at this room and is like, yeah, this is it right here. I hope he looks at this room and it's like, you know what? We got a couple pieces that we can work with, but we do have to add to it, which is what I think they will do. All right. Son get source at buffet. Doug, get a Snickers. So I think we added inside linebacker soon. Move Bam to practice squad. And yeah, that might be. That might be. I mean, hell, shoot, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised they brought in two. You know what I mean? And we'll see where it goes from there. You might take it from another spot and maybe add, move Bam Martin to the practice squad or whatever, or hell, maybe even Claude Shirellis. Who knows? But I would be surprised and shocked if there was no movement in this inside linebacker room between tomorrow and the end of the week. I would be absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. Apparently, I said Doug hungry. I'm typing on this phone. I think it's too big. My bad. Paul says, watch for a linebacker Lance Dixon, who was cut from the Eagles, stacked linebacker room for the Panthers to talk to and add. Okay, facts. All right, I'm going to go look him up. All right. Mr. Unky Dory says some decent inside linebackers, not great, were waived and cut in the last 2 days. Okay, got you. All right, but this here is our inside linebacker room for the moment. Okay. Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom, Bam Martin Scott, and Claudin Shirellis. All right. Now let's go ahead and move on to our cornerbacks. Okay. And I had us keeping 6 cornerbacks this year. All right. I was kind of going more so on what the Panthers did on the defense side of the ball last year as kind of a guide as to what they were going to do this year. And hold on one second, y'all. Let me get a swig of water here. My apologies. Okay. But so we only have five. All right. J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Shaw Smith Wade. What has probably been, the biggest surprise of any rookie or undrafted free agent, Mr. Corey Thornton. Okay. And Caleb Evans. All right. And I think on my other list, I had us keeping no, I had us keeping seven. I had us keeping seven on my other list. I think I had Bartholomew and Reed on there. All right. And I couldn't have been more wrong because they were both cut today. All right. So but Corey Thornton, see him lined up in the slot, seen him lined up on the edge, and I like what I've seen from him. Okay. He's been guarding faster receivers, bigger receivers. So my hope is that we don't have any injury issues out of J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Shaw Smith Wade throughout this season. I hope Corey Thornton can, keep practicing, keep working on his craft. But I do think that if he is called upon to be in the game, I think we do have something to work with. Okay, I honestly think we have something to work with. Evans, I got to go back and look a little bit more on him. I can't give you a clear, yay or nay as to why the Panthers kept him. Excuse me. I don't know if it's a situation where it was like, all right, well, he was just better than the rest. So we'll see. All right. And if y'all know something I don't, put it in the chat. I appreciate it. But five cornerbacks, okay? Your outside corners, Horn and Mike Jackson, slot corner, Shao Smith Wade, and your reserves, Thornton and Corey Thornton and Caleb Evans. All right, Paul says Eagles released cornerback Eli Ricks today. Could be added by the Panthers to replace Evans. Hmm, okay. Yeah, let me tell you, it's quite a few names out there that would be interesting, to see the Panthers go after. Okay, quite a few names, but we'll see. And it was crazy because this day was so, like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're doing. Oh, I can't wait to see what they're doing. And now we got a 53-man roster. And it's like, well, crap, I still feel that way because I can't wait to see what they're going to do to hopefully improve some spots on this 53-man roster. All right, so we'll see. But those are our cornerbacks. All right. Now, safeties. Okay. Let me tell you, three out of the four I am okay with. All right. And I'm sure y'all all know the one person that I really thought was not going to be on this list. And right now it's penciled in as a starter, and that was Nick Scott. Okay. He did not put anything on tape last year that gave me a reason to believe that he would be back this year. And no disrespect to him. No disrespect to him. I'm just going by what I've seen in games. And yeah, I thought for sure that he was not going to be back, but he is back. Okay. Trayvon Merrick, great in the run game, great box safety. He would go down, take on running backs, tight ends. Hell, I've seen him taking on offensive linemen, knocking him out the way, and getting the tackle on the running back, trying to do a sweep. Okay. Um, we did draft Lathan Ransom out of Ohio State. We had Demani Richardson from last year. Okay, another undrafted free agent who came in for us and gave us valuable minutes down the stretch last season. Okay. I know that when we had the chalk talk, when we were listening to me and my wife were listening to Evero talk, and he was saying about Merrick, you would see him back there at all safety spots. He was like free safety, strong safety. He was like big nickel, a linebacker position. So Merrick is probably going to be all over the field. Okay. I see some situations where you probably see Merrick and Scott in there, and Lathan Ransom might be down playing in the big nickel spot. That was the case in the last preseason game versus the Steelers. They had two deep safeties, and Lathan Ransom was playing close to the line of scrimmage. Okay, so we'll see some. I do believe we'll see a lot of mixing and matching of the safeties throughout the season. But I just hope it's a situation where they all can handle what they need to handle, especially Nick Scott. Okay, especially Nick Scott. So we'll see. All right, let me get to some comments here. Okay, let me see where I left off at. All right, let me see. Okay, yes, Eagle and Jags cut vet inside linebackers. Got you. Eagles released. Oh, I'm sorry. I already said that one. Okay, here we go. He had a pro football focus coverage grade of 68 in 2021 and a coverage grade of 85.6 in 2022. 20. Who is that, Mr. Hunky Dory? Is that Nick Scott? Let me know who that is. Dig it, what's going on? Late to the party as usual, but I'm glad you're here, my brother. Glad you're here. Miss Hunky Dory, overall grade 67.8, 65th amongst 222 cornerbacks. Okay. Eagles also cut safety Lewis, was that Cini, a former first rounder by the Vikings a few years back from Georgia, who is healthy, could help the Panthers, but was injured last preseason game. Gotcha. It's not minutes, that's basketball, it's snaps in football. Gotcha. My bad. My bad. Are the Panthers going to pick up a third QB? I'm pretty sure they pick up one for the practice squad. Now whether Plummer will be back or um, Bryce Perkins may get the shot, we'll see. We'll see. Panther 74. If we are going to take the next step, we have to start someone else besides Nick Scott. I agree. I agree. Groin and knee injuries late in 2024. Uh, okay. Said sorry. There's a lot of info. Eli Ricks. Okay, gotcha. Oh, you know what? Hey, and like Diggy said right here, everybody gently tap the like button. It's 122 of y'all watching on two different platforms. I do believe Facebook is on the fritz right now. But if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I appreciate all of you and thank you for the support. Appreciate you as always, Diggy. Let me see. Second worst out of entire NFL a few years back. Gotcha. Let me see. EE just won't part ways with these guys. Jeez. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, hey, they're his guys. They're his guys, but they're his guys or not. They got to show and prove. They got to show and prove. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Okay, so last on the list here are the specialists. Okay, and it was funny because earlier I was counting the 53-man roster, and I was like, oh man, I was like, they only got 50 players. I was like, bet, so they got room to sign three people. Well, you know what, ding dong, these were the three people. I went one slide too short. Okay, so Ryan Fitzgerald has won the kicker job. And I don't think that's necessarily over. I think there is a chance they might bring somebody else in, maybe. Okay. Sam Martin will be the punter, and since 1862, J.J. Jansen will be the long snapper. Okay, he's been the long snapper since before the Civil War. All right, so J.J. Jansen will be back as the long snapper again. The one thing I just hope Fitzgerald, I think he's got the leg. He's got a decent leg. I do believe he has a stronger leg than Eddie Pinero, and I just hope and pray that he goes out there and does what he's supposed to do in key situations for the Panthers. All right. Let me see. Mr. Kidori said Facebook crashing with the Cowboy fans screaming, "This is their year." Oh, that is rich. I love it, Mr. Kidori. I love it. I love it. Paul says Panthers will add QB Wilford, who Jaguars released. Wilford played in a few NFL games for the Rams. A smart, accurate QB that Canales would like, and played at Wake Forest. And OC Izit coached him too. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, man. Hey, let me tell you, Jansen been with us for a minute. He been with us for a long time. JJ Jansen was snapping when they wore leather helmets. Hey, facts. Big facts. And it's crazy because you get the feeling that Jansen has been here since 1995. And I know he hasn't, but he just gives off that vibe like he has been here since the Panthers have been the Panthers. But good dude, and nothing but success to him because he does play a pivotal role in field goals, punts, and extra points. So yeah. All right, y'all. So that's all I had. Now I did want to mention we have a lot of undrafted players, who are on this roster, whether they were undrafted this year or undrafted previously, signed by another team and now with the team. So we have Corey Thornton, okay, this year undrafted out of Louisville. Bam Martin Scott out of South Carolina. Jalen Coker last year out of Holy Cross. Damani Richardson last year out of Texas A&M. Okay, you got Thomas and Coon from 2023. Bryson Tremaine from Stanford, 2023. Claude Shirellis, 2023. LeBron Ray was undrafted, 2022. Christian Roseboom, undrafted in 2020. Rico Dowdle, undrafted in 2020. Turk Wharton, okay, Tershawn Wharton, 2020. And Yash Nyman, excuse me, in 2019. Okay. So yeah. Uh-oh. DeVito cut by the Giants. I wonder how long that's gonna last. I wonder if there is a nice little coffee shop somewhere down in Brooklyn somewhere where somebody's making some calls right now. But I digress. But yeah, thanks for that, dig it. But a lot of like I said, a lot of undrafted free agents are on this roster. Like I said, I think we hopefully we found a gem in Corey Thornton this year, in a position that's one of need for us this year at the cornerback spot. I think of course J.C. Horn will do good. I think Mike Jackson will do good, be serviceable. Shao Smith Wade, he has been nothing but raved about this whole off season. But we do need that added depth and security behind those guys as well. So yeah. Oh, hey, my boy, appreciate you, Revolutionary Poet. I forgot about Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was undrafted as well. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's one of my good friends right there. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, it's a lot of undrafted talent on this team this year. Let me see. Ms. Dory says, can we look quickly at the cut list of other teams or see if there are any high profile cuts? You know what? Hold on. Let's see. See what I can find. Let me see. It says notable high profile players cut from NFL rosters include you got Hunter Renfro on here. Kyle Trask, Desmond Ritter, Hendon Hooker from the Lions, uh McCole Hart. Oh, hold on. The Packers cut McCole Hardman? Oh wow. Isaiah Simmons from the Packers, Keaton Sutherland from the Lions, and like Diggy said, QB Tommy DeVito from the Giants. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and drop this down. Yeah, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh, hey, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson got released by the Browns. So like I said, don't think we got no room for him here. He had his chance here, but we'll see if he lands somewhere else as well. But yeah, man, it's been it's let me tell you, it's been a crazy day. It's been a crazy few months, leading up to this. My kids started school yesterday, and it was wild because I told him, I was like, this has been one of the longest summers, that I've had in a while. Okay. And I think it's because, we've been waiting so much for all this Panther news to drop. And there was no training camp. So we didn't have any of that to go to, and put our eyes on these players out there playing and whatnot. But it's wild. And it's not over. And the good thing is, it is not over. There's still a lot of moves to be made, I do believe, by this Panther squad in the next few days. Yep. Uh, he called him Head Case Johnson. Everyone dodging bullets with Deontay Johnson. See, need to pick up Tyler Huntley. That's right. The Browns released him as well. You have to look at schemes to see if a fit. Evero coached under Vic Fangio, which is why I was looking at the Eagles cuts, also the Broncos. Facts, ball. Facts. Facts. Like I said, was Evero cut? No, 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 he was not. No, no, he was not. Now mind you, I will say this. I, talked my fair bit of trash about Evero and this defense last year. But, I can honestly sit here and say, excuse me, I can honestly sit here and say that, it's not like he was loaded, with talent from defensive line all the way back to safety. Okay, there was talent at each level. More so, you had Derek Brown at defensive line, and you had J.C. Horn in the secondary. Okay, we had Frankie Louvu, but he went to Washington last year. Okay, so it's not like Evero came in and had this plethora of talent, to work with. Even though I did think that the way things went last year was going to be enough for him to be released, But that wasn't the case, and he's getting another shot. Let's just hope that he can go out there and make the best of it with the talent that the Panthers have brought in. Because I hear a lot of people say that the Panthers spent all the money on offense, last year, which they spent the majority of their offseason in free agency on the offense. Okay, bringing in Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt, those are two big contracts. But they did go out in free agency this year and in the draft and, bring in some talent to this team. Now, yet to be seen exactly what that talent is going to do, but hey, that's up to the talent and that's up to Evero as the defensive coordinator. So we'll see. Us and the Ravens are just loaded at DB, so they may cut a gem. Got you. Got you. Paul says on offense, you look at Tampa Bay and Seattle's cuts where Canales and is it. I got you. Got you. Got you. Yes, historically bad. Yep. Jags 4-3 and 3-4 looks. I got you. I got you. Let me see. So yes, dig. We might have onto almost historically. Said we might have onto almost historically, but bad, but not the total worst. It felt like it. It definitely felt like it. I swear it did. But all right, y'all. But that's all I got for you today. And Doug, if you were still watching, yes, you were right. I did not keep it to an hour, but an hour and a half, I do think that is pretty good. Okay. Because I get up here and get to talking about this stuff, and I do like to talk. All right. Oh, and and me just being me, if y'all did not catch the live last week, my twins celebrated their 16th birthday last week, and that is my beautiful family right there. Me on the left, Nella's Creations right there to my left. That's James with the chain on and the locks in his hair. That's my daughter Layla, and that's my oldest son Cameron, the drum major from North Carolina Central University. So I wanted to show off my family again before I get out of here, y'all. All right, y'all probably get sick of me showing this picture. I probably might show it on a few lives from here on out. So, but yes, that is my beautiful family right there. Okay. But before we all get up out of here, oh, I do want to mention one thing. Okay. There is on my post, okay, there is a link to the I'm sorry, in my last live, and I will put it in the description to this video when I get off of here. But the link to, what, hold on a second, y'all. Hold on. Let me do this real quick because I got about 6 or 7 spots to fill in the fantasy league. And if any of y'all want to join it, I want to make sure that y'all can get in there. Okay. I was going to do it for just the members, but I need to fill the league. Okay. So let me get the link here and I will put it in the chat while I am here. Okay. So if anybody wants to join the fantasy league, there is the link. It is in the chat. Like I said, we got about 7 slots to fill. It's a 12-team league. I would love to be able to fill the league up. I mean, if not, I'm not. If we get close to 10, I might cut a couple teams and we can do 10. Okay, but I will. I was talking to Doug about this earlier. I played 10 to 12 fantasy football leagues. I love it. It's just a few clicks here and there, and I'm good to go. But if y'all want to join the fantasy league, there is the link. For those of y'all that have joined, if we don't get at least 10, I probably won't do it. But like I said, there's the link if you guys want to join. Okay. And as always, I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the engagement. This has been my thoughts on the Panthers' initial 53-man roster for the 2025 season. Okay. And as always, you can catch me on all social media at Armchair GMCJ. Before you get out of here, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Okay. I greatly appreciate all the love and support. And as always, Panther Nation, I leave y'all with 3 things. Number 1, y'all be good. Number 2, y'all be safe. And number 3, as always, Panther Nation, like my beautifully crafted millionaire back here, keep pounding, man. I'll see.